What up, though, y'all? It is Friday, TGIF, to everybody who's tuned in right now. We got 4, a.k.a. 4,000 watching right now when we cut on right now. You know, I'm DJ BigBoss. This is the Who-Bangin Sports Lounge Live, which we do every Friday at the same doggone time. So make sure you check back in and hang out with us sometime. We got a bunch of great topics, some great folks joining us today. And I'm not going to hold up the mic any longer. I'm going to get my first co-host up in here with me, our guy, the Big Ragoo. Big Ragoo, how are you feeling on this Friday night, Big Ragoo? Uh-oh, I think we got Big Ragoo. Mike's muted.
No,
but,
we're back.
He always fixes it in. How's it going, Big Ragoo?
Great. Good night. Good to be here, my brother. Good to be here. Excited about the evening. Got an early first half casher on UCF, -10. They covered by 11. And I'm in a good mood right now. Not that I wasn't before, but I'm in a little bit better mood right now. So how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, man. As you should. Big shout out to our guy, Vegas Gun 1 in the house, hanging out with us today. And also, we got a bunch of other cappers here. Joe Anisi in the house. He's hanging out with us tonight. And I'm going to keep it rolling, man. And I'm going to pull in our guy, the one and only, Dom Ricci, in the house with us. Dom.
Yo. What's up, fellas?
Going over there? How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling pretty good. Warm, nice and warm in my house because it's freezing cold outside, baby. 30-something degrees. It's cold in New York.
That's right.
How's everybody? I miss you guys already. It's been not even 4 or 5 days since I've seen you.
Oh, man. Didn't we have a blast in Vegas, man? It's going to take some getting used to it's going to take some getting used to get back on the grind without you guys. But we got a great show in store for everybody today. My guy Fergie Ferg's in the house. What up, Fergie Ferg? Salute to you, my brother. Thanks for joining us today. I'm feeling good today, guys. I had a little drink. I got some crazy money line par going today because I was not being focused on doing my capping today. So I just put a little something crazy in. I'm going to relax, hang out with y'all, have some fun, and load up for tomorrow morning on the closing line and tomorrow's bets. But we're going to talk about a lot. We're going to talk about a lot tonight, and we're going to bring in another special guest in 2 minutes, man. I don't want to hold up the mic, man. Y'all got something to say to these wonderful people?
Doc, go ahead, baby.
Well, you know, we're not in recovery mode, but we're just kind of like Dom says, you know, we had a good time last week, but hey, we got to get back to the grind, and that's what we're doing tonight. So basically, is anybody on the football game? I got the first half action down already, and I'm done. How about you, Dom? Did you get any bets in early this evening?
Yeah, what I did was I was looking into that Jazz bet that you were talking about, and I missed that money line. You said it was at 140. When I looked, it was 110. So I just took the
110. Wow.
Plus. I took the +2.
Yeah, I think
at that point there was not in. You know, at that point I just took the +2. I took a shot with under 218 in that game.
I think our DJ. I think I know who you're going to bring in for our first guest. I think he might have something to say about that.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need a little NBA authority coming in here because it sure isn't me.
Hey, well, you guys are right on time because it's almost 6:05. So with no further ado, man, let's bring our guy. Now, this guy has been on here before. Great guy, very informative, loves everything he does. He's also co-hosted The Boss in the Sauce 1 week with me, which was really fun. I really got to know this guy really good. So with no further ado, let's bring our guy, Greg EB, in the house. How's it going, Greg?
Hey, how you guys doing? Thanks for
having me. How you doing, Greg?
Up?
Good to meet you.
BR? What's up, BR?
How we doing, brother? How we doing? Hey, Greg, you ever met my buddy Dom right beneath me?
No, we missed each other a couple times. How you doing, Greg?
Yeah, good, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm glad to see you. Good to have you on, man. You come highly talked about. So
thanks,
it's glad to have you here.
Thank you. Appreciate the warm welcomes.
Hey, Greg, one thing real quick. I was telling the guys about the Utah play that you like tonight, and I kind of spread the love around a little bit to
Right.
our insiders. And one thing when you told me about the game and we talked about it, it was sitting at +3 and plus 140 on the money line, and the money line dipped all the way down to 110 and -2. So I think the West Coast Syndicate was in full effect in that one.
Yeah, I took it in the morning at +3. That's what my guys like. But when you look at Utah, amazing team at home, undefeated, 4-0. But when they go on the road, it's a completely different basketball team. I don't know. Remember, the first time I ever got on your show, I even said that I like Utah. I don't know if they're a sleeper team or not because they were a playoff team last year. But at home this year to start off the year, 4-0. They're undefeated. I was at the game the other day with the Bucks and the Clippers. Bucks have a lot of length, and their length has a lot of versatility. I think Rudy Gobert is going to have a little bit of an impact in the game tonight, personally, as from a basketball standpoint. But yeah, we took it at +3 in the morning.
What did you think? What did you think about the under? Because Dom, weren't you asking about the under on that earlier this evening?
Yeah, I was. We were talking a little bit about it this morning, and I just was wondering about it. I mean, the Jazz are a notoriously defensive team. I mean, just in general. But I was just wondering at 218, I was kind of looking at
I mean, Utah is a defensive-minded team. That's for sure.
So we'll see. A little shot. Go ahead, DJ.
I was just gonna say, man, we got our guy star Wham Talk, which is under construction, but slowly but surely gonna be coming to you guys. It's a long way to go in the NBA season, so we're just getting started. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring our guy Wham in here so he can hang out with our guy Greg and the rest of the gang. So we can get the NBA rolling right here, right now.
Oh, here you go.
Get this stuff going. What you got going on over there, Wham?
Hey, our guy Greg said it, man. Bucks stay long. You feel me? I'm on the Bucks first half -1.5, I'm sorry. It makes the most sense. I actually got them early at +0.5 for the first half, so I feel really good about it. It makes sense. You feel me? Everything that you look at as far as what the team that they playing against today. They're really lacking a lot of cohesiveness. It makes sense for the Bucks, but the Bucks coming off a game, last game that I actually end up cashing. So I might be a little biased, but for the most part, I fuck with the Bucks heavy though, bro. I fuck with the Bucks all the way. Y'all already know Bucks first half. That's probably one of the first plays y'all see me bet. You feel me? So I'm fucking with that heavy right now.
You know what I like about that bet that you made? We could both win.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got the chance. Right, Greg?
That's true. Yeah, we can definitely
we
win.
all could win, right? On one game.
One thing that I didn't like about the Bucks, I was noticing Wesley Matthews, right? The shooting guard they picked up. Oh, his name is Wesley Matthews, right? The guy they just picked up. Okay, I was really paying attention. He had a lot of the body language he was giving up. It didn't look too good. I felt like he was playing very frustrated with Milwaukee. I had a feeling even when Milwaukee went up by 10 points, 11 points versus the Clippers were going to make a run against them. And they did, and they covered a spread. That game middled. If you took it early on at -3, and then when the Leonard news came out and you took the Clippers at +6.5, you would have middled that game.
Right. And the craziest thing about Leonard was they already came in saying that he was going to play at least one of these games. And you look at the game that they could possibly pass, you're going to take the Bucks because they're more competitive. Like you said, they're longer. They match up well with the Clippers. So that made sense for me to take the Bucks early because I feel like he was going to play against them. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't going to play basically. So I felt like he wasn't going to play. And that alone, it showed, and you really seen him. He's like one of the top scorers in the fourth quarter I seen for Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, one of the top scorers. You take that out, they might not be able to cover spread. So I looked at them to take it early, and that's another reason why I like the Bucks right now, even though they're still finishing out their road trip. I like the Bucks just based off of the matchup. And if you look at what Utah has been doing, they're not really scoring that much. You know what I mean? Like Utah really isn't really scoring that much. And you go back until what Bogdanovich is doing for Utah. He's scoring, he's doing things, but as far as defensively, He's kind of a liability, and they already have a lot of other liabilities on defense. So if you're just really dependent on Rudy Gobert to defend everybody, that shit is not going to work. So I like to fade Utah early on right now until they figure out another defender and have another defender in the starting lineup.
What about the fact that they're 4-0 at home, but on the road they struggle, but at home they play Utah Jazz brand basketball? Is that something that worry you? Because they are undefeated at home right now.
The only reason why I'm not worried about them being at home is because they're playing a high quality team in the Bucks. Like you said, they're playing a really good team that's long, that knows their game, that everybody has their roles. They're not playing the team that's kind of coming in this game not knowing what to do like the Hawks. As far as the Hawks, they're a great team. I like Bembry. I like what Trey Young is doing, but they're not all the way together like we've seen. They could actually collapse in some cases. I feel the same way about Orlando Magic. I like the Orlando Magic to win this division, and I'm on the Heat tonight. You know what I'm saying? First half, but you know what I'm saying? I feel like Orlando Magic just got to make a few adjustments, just like Utah, just like other teams. Once they make those right adjustments, they'll be able to do something better on. But right now, early on in the season, we're going to just capitalize on what they fucking up on.
I like your Heat play for sure. They're the surprise to me. They're the biggest surprise in the NBA. That guy Kendrick Nunn,
Right, he about to eat
excellent
today.
basketball player.
He
I
about to
like your
eat
Heat
today.
play.
He about to eat
I
today.
like your Heat play.
And I'm a
Yep.
Laker fan, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't like fading the Lakers. I come on here
Mhm.
hot, you know what I'm saying? Because Wham Talk is under construction, like Boss said. I'm coming in here hot. I got some plays I'm trying to get off.
Yeah.
And the Heat was one of those that I felt high on the last game, first half. They run 4-0, last 4 games, first half. And I think they can make it 5-0. Lakers start off slow. They possibly going to win this game, the Lakers, but right now, starting off, they're not, they got old bones. They got to get them warmed up first before they start running out there.
Hey, can I ask a question to both of you guys?
Yeah.
And then
Sure.
we'll let Greg answer it, and then OG answer. Just briefly, nothing in length and nothing too descriptive, but basically for somebody that's looking to get involved with capping the NBA, what's a good baseline starting point for you guys to give out for a newbie, like especially with sports gambling becoming legal in a lot of states and a lot of different places, for these first time people that want to get involved and looking at basketball or even college for that matter, basketball as a whole. What kind of advice would you have to somebody to start out gambling on basketball? Greg, I'll let you go first, and then Wham, you follow.
I mean, NBA is really tough to beat. If you're like a average sports bettor or not, the lines are very sharp with NBA. They're like similar to NFL. They obviously because of the popularity aspect of it. So many people that watch the NBA and follow it. The lines are even sharpest when it comes to NBA. So my advice would be, I mean, if you're doing it for fun, I mean, keep it that way. It's a jungle out there when you don't want to put serious money at stake if you don't know what you're doing. But if you're doing it for fun and you're sprinkling a few bucks on it, I mean, that just got to keep it that way, because you can, if you start to bet big money, you can really get hurt betting the NBA.
And I'll say shout out to 11 Sports for y'all about to get a gym right now. If you starting in any sport, I'm saying hockey, golf, anything, I would look into fantasy first. They're already putting market prices on individuals in the fantasy spectrum of what gambling is going on right now. So you look into fantasy, you get to see certain type of price tags on certain players, certain individuals. That'll give you an edge going into the gambling market. And if you're a newbie, that's what you want to do first, in my opinion. But like, say for example, Kendrick Nunn, you'll see him starting to become creeping into a higher fantasy value right now because he's consistent with his production. So you'll look at somebody like that on the Heat, you'll be able to get a certain type of outlook, even though you're just getting in, getting off your work, getting off the job, your wife is stressing you. You look at fantasy, you probably could get an edge on the damn game. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it. If you're originally coming into NBA, you don't know too much about it, but just really know your players, know who you're betting on. If you know the coaches, know the game style, go know the speed. It's the same thing as NFL and college football. If you know what the coaches are going to play, if they're going to run up tempo, they're going to box box the running back in and try to beat them by passing, you'll have an edge on the game. So that's what I would say, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, those are both good answers. I mean, from the money management side and kind of dipping your toe in the water, and then your aspect as far as breaking down players. Now, basketball is probably the only sport that one player can have a major impact, to affect the total outcome of the game. It's not like football or baseball or any other sport like that. So I'm not going to say it's a one-dimensional sport, but what do you think about that? Do you think how much value do you put like on an individual player versus like a team play in basketball?
I mean, for me, I mean, I would say they put a lot of clout on one player. You could look at certain players being injured, and you see a drastic move in the market. We all know that can happen in NFL, and it's not that big of an impact on the actual game. One player being out, unless it's like a quarterback or some sort. Yeah, exactly. Or even some cases, even like a safety being out on defense, that could make a big fucking deal in the defense, and they could probably get beat on a lot of passes. But going to as far as basketball, I mean, you look at one individual player being out, that could make an impact. Like if they're a guy like Doncic for Dallas, a guy like him being out for Dallas, they pretty much run their whole scheme based off of his skill set. So that'll have a big impact on them. Or somebody like Bradley Beal being out for the fucking Wizards, he the best player they got. You know what I mean? That's the type of shit you want to look out for. But other than that, I mean, you really don't have too much. If Russell Westbrook is out, James Harden can still pick up the slack. So, you got to look at certain situations. Everything is situational in the NBA, in my opinion. But it's one of those things I don't even like to talk too much general about the NBA because it is situational as hell. You could fuck around and have a great outlook on something and fall short thinking the same way.
So you guys don't really look at too many stats about it. So like the defensive points for, points against, stuff like that. You don't really pay too much of mind. It's more situational. Last 5-6 games, things like that.
You see how Ski scaps the last 5 games. I look at everything kind of like day by day.
Yeah.
And it burns me sometimes. It burns other people's the way they cap too, because it's so fucking situational. You never know. Like they could flip the switch, and you know how it is, boss. We look at certain things just to be on some hypothetical. It could possibly happen this way because the way the mindset could come into the game. So shit like that you got to count in for too. So it's kind of difficult. I can't really like generalize the way of capping NBA just because everything can happen so much. And everything can happen in NBA and NFL, MLB. It's the same thing in every sport.
I've been noticing that Ski Profit, I track his stuff. He's been getting burned by a lot of half points and 1 points just to show you how sharp the NBA is.
That's right.
He's an excellent capper, and you'll see how sharp those lines are. He's gotten burned the last week or so by a half a point on a lot of his bets. That's how sharp the NBA is.
But at the same time, that's my guy. He'll fuck around and go on a streak, bro. Like something you ain't never seen. You feel me? So for the NBA, I literally was on a video with this motherfucker, bro, and he literally moved the line. I know he moved it, bro. Like just how Max. Wow. We know Max is moving the line, bro. Like it's just inevitable. He's moving the line. It's guaranteed. Ski is just the same, bro. Like we got some players that we really know. Well, Capper, Ragoo, even Boss, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure they're going to get hip to Dom. Sooner or later, they're going to get hip to you, Dom. So let's keep cashing while we can, you feel me? Just like they're going to get hip to me sooner or later, too. But eventually, you know what I mean? We're going to get to that ass.
While are we talking about cappers and people getting hip to people, let's get our guy Noli Knows in the house, man. He's sitting backstage. Hey. And they definitely hip to Noli. He's making unders great again. Noli Knows, making unders great. How you feeling today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How's everybody else doing tonight, man?
Hey, Noli.
Hey, no. How are you, my man?
Yeah. Nice jersey in the background.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man.
Hey, Doc, we're surrounded by these West Coast dudes, Doc. We gotta We got a batten down the hatches over here.
Hey, it was you guys last time though, right? It was you guys, so it's our turn now.
Right. Turnabout's fair play.
Watch out, man. So, Noli, what's happening, man?
Having a good night in college basketball so far. You know, hit my first 3. I got 3 more going, and yeah, the under's been live in college basketball, hitting like about almost 65% overall, and I'm hitting a little bit higher than that right now, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah, it's always nice to hit the first 3 out of 6. That's for damn sure.
Do you bet the NFL?
I bet a little bit NFL, not too much.
Okay, what did you think? Did you watch that Chargers game yesterday?
Ooh, let's talk about that game. I was on the under. I got burned.
Me too.
By the little, hey, in the middle of the game, though, I had to sit there and think, hey, I would take the under again and again and again on this game. It was one interception that was just careless by Phillip Rivers,
NFL, though.
and that cost us the game in that one. And we still was live all the way to almost the end of the fourth quarter. So
let me ask you a question though. Do you think the under was the correct play in that game?
Absolutely, 100%, man. Just happened to get off a little bit faster than expected through a turnover.
Yep.
You know, we can't predict turnovers, but as far as the pace of the game, the defense versus the offense, you know, I even said in my capping that the defensive line of San Diego would slow the Raiders down a little bit, and we seen that they were getting back there a lot. But it was funny in the second half that the Raiders switched it around. And they got the pass rush going because Rivers was waiting too late in the snap count to get the ball off. If you're in the last 2 minutes, you can't be snapping the ball at 2 and 1 because it gives the defensive guy timing enough to put the pressure going forward. And that's exactly what the Raiders did. Yeah. And that's how we lost that game.
That's agreed. And the other team played prevent on the other side of the ball, and the other team was still coming after them. So that was the difference in the game.
You got to give the Raiders credit, man. They've been on the road since the middle of September. They haven't won all the games, but they've played a lot of different teams. That offensive line is really gelled. They're giving the car a lot of time. You know, if they could fix their pass defense, and those tight ends keep on getting burned by the tight ends. I noticed that every game almost. But I'll tell you, those Raiders came along more than I expected. And what's going on in Vegas with them, like we noticed last week, everybody's a Raider fan all of a sudden. I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights are almost not being talked about, and now everybody's a Raider fan. I mean, I heard guys talking in the sportsbook about the black glass they're putting around the damn stadium. I mean,
it looks nice, though.
I'll tell you, yeah. Listen, I like what they're doing, man. I like I like what they're doing. I gotta say, I'll tell you, I think Chucky's doing a damn good job. He got that team going. He got rid of the right contracts. He got that team going. The running game is going. The offensive line is going. I tell you, he's doing something. Making noise anyhow.
Hey, I know a guy that's a Raider fan. I know a guy that's a Raider fan in this room with us right now.
What?
As a matter of fact, me and him talked about the Raiders in depth before they were talking about AB and all the other nonsense that came along. Greg and I, or especially Greg, because he asked, we talked about team totals early in the season, and people laughed about the Raiders winning 6 games. They were saying they would be lucky if they win 3-4 games. And I think the win total, Greg, what was it, 6 and a half, 6?
5.5, I believe.
5.5. Yeah, we needed 6 to cash the winner.
Yeah,
so guess what?
Exactly.
Go cash that ticket, my man. Congratulations.
I mean, look, remember when I told? From our conversation, the reason why I like the Raiders to begin with was last year. If you watched the Raiders in depth, you would have thought that after trading away Khalil Mack and then trading away Cooper, they'd be a team that would be tanking, right? But on the contrary, I watched a lot of the Raiders games, and they were playing their asses off for John Gruden. I remember there was one specific game, and I know Ragoo, you were on the Raiders in that game. It was around Christmas time. They were playing against the Denver Broncos. Yep. You said that the Raiders would win that game. They're actually the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers missed the playoffs last year. The Steelers were a 10-point favorite against the Raiders later on in the season, and the Raiders beat them straight up.
Yeah, but then the Raiders lose. Didn't Pittsburgh beat them? You said the Raiders beat the Pittsburgh at Oakland. Correct.
Yeah. That was a big reason why Pittsburgh missed the playoffs last year, because if they had won that game, they were going to be a playoff team. And then
Wow.
one other thing that a lot of people forget about the Raiders with Derek Carr, he's a really solid quarterback. The only problem with Derek Carr was that whenever he was playing quarterback, he only had the same offensive coordinator once for consecutive years. The year where when Jack Del Rio was coaching the Raiders, he had the same offensive coordinator for 2 consecutive years. That's why he was so familiar with the offensive playbook, and he was having an MVP caliber year till he got injured. And this year, going into the season, he has another offensive coordinator that he's had 2 consecutive years in a row. So now he has familiarity with the offensive playbook, and you're seeing what the results of his play. I thought the Raiders were going to be a good team with a really good team with Antonio. Now imagine if they had Antonio Brown, if he had bought in. I mean, they might have even had a chance to win the AFC West.
Yeah.
Wait.
I wouldn't go that far.
Before we let's put some brakes on this train now. Now the Raiders won last night. I give them that, but it was a Thursday game and they was the home team. Let's not look past that. That's not
And
just
this is their last time being in that stadium as well.
Listen, they've been traveling their asses off, and they're probably this team's going to travel 30,000 miles this year to play football, and they're probably the most traveled team in the NFL, is what they were saying. So they got a treacherous road schedule. This team.
Did you guys watch the game?
If they can survive that, then yeah, they're winners in my book.
Did you guys watch the game versus the Green Bay Packers? They were driving at the end of the first half, and it was a fumble by Carr that flipped the entire game around. They were in that game as well. They could have easily won that game.
I'm calling a flag on that play too. We gotta look at Green Bay. Green Bay are playing teams at they're playing teams at their pace. They recognized early in the season that if they won early, they wouldn't have to work as hard late. So they're about managing their energy right now, and they went to the Raiders and they played the Raiders at Raider speed, and they could have afforded to lose or anything in that game. So I was on the under in that game as well. But Raiders, I give them all their props. You know, they have a wonderful D. I even told a San Diego fan that I would take the Raiders in that game because it was Monday night. Thursday night. We can't look past that because that has to do with preparation. Football is all about preparation. The games are played on Sunday. If you play on Sunday on the road and you fly home Monday, you might not even do much practice. You might practice Tuesday, then Wednesday's a travel day all over again.
That's definitely a big advantage for the home team on Thursday.
Always, that's always going to be there. So I ain't hating on your team. You know, this is Niners forever, but I'm not going to play the violin to that tune. I expected the Raiders to do well this year.
Watch this
as well, though.
Next game, they're playing against the Cincinnati Bengals, winnable game.
Easy.
Then they play against the New York Jets, another winnable game. The Raiders have an opportunity now in the next 2 games to get to 7-4. You tell me, are they going to be a playoff team this year possibly?
They can end up in the playoffs, no problem. But we all know the NFL.
They ain't gonna do shit in the playoffs though.
The NFL is similar. They similar to the NBA. Some teams got to be playoff type teams.
I can see them getting in there though.
Playoffs. I can see them getting in there. I feel that.
Yeah,
I mean, it must be Christmas because my Niners is getting in there too.
Nah, we for sure in there. That's for sure. Niners in there for sure.
But the Niners, they took a nasty injury with their linebacker. That was a big loss. After that happened, man, I'm NFC's anybody can come out of that. There you can pick the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys, the New Orleans Saints. That NFC's stacked. Anybody can come out of the NFC.
That's true.
We just making a nice run, but
I think it's gonna be the Saints though. I think the Saints gonna come out the NFC. I like
man. If I have to listen to another Drew Brees story that ends up in a losing out of the playoffs,
I like the fucking Saints. I'm a Falcons fan. I don't like the Saints.
I'm gonna throw up.
I like the
Saints.
Listen,
we got 3 of the worst fans in the world. We got the Falcons, the Jets, and the Giants. So you have to kick us out of the room right now.
Yeah, I'm a Falcons fan, bro. That shit is whack.
Yeah, before we get too deep, we got a couple quick questions from the chat. And before maybe it gets too late, Noli, they want to know if you have any games that didn't start yet.
Okay. No, my last game started at 6:00.
Okay.
I was maybe looking at the
maybe. Okay.
The only one I was really looking at is maybe Baylor, Washington. That's about to start right now. I think that's going to be a nice little battle, but it did move down 3 points, but I felt it was a little bit too tight for me to take, so I laid off of it.
Okay.
But it's a neutral court. They're playing in Alaska, I believe, and yeah, I expect them to struggle at least in the first half, scoring the ball.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Just wanted to make sure in case something was starting quick. A couple guys were asking.
I think that's like the funnest. That's
sorry,
like the funnest game to watch. There's a lot of talent on that game. You know what I mean? There's a lot of NBA talent that's going to be playing on both sides of that ball. So at least tune in to watch. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I got you. Doc, they were asking also if you were on anything on the tonight on that Oregon State game. Did you put anything on that?
No, but I could tell you what, a lot of sharp guys are in Oregon State in this game. They were saying that the reasoning behind Oregon State is basically you got teams going different directions. That's the Washington game, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of guys are on Washington. A lot of sharp money on Oregon State. I'm not on it, but some of the sharp guys are taking the points in that game. Just FYI.
Interesting. I heard our boy JJ on the other side. As a matter of fact.
Yeah, I was going to say I would lean more so Washington just
a lot of points.
Just because the reason why I would say I would lean more Washington just because Oregon, they're not really good at recruiting as far as like a historically value wise. I'm not betting this game, but I wouldn't lean toward Oregon State unless I see them win consecutive games, have some type of momentum. They haven't been showing me anything like that, so I wouldn't.
Washington ain't setting the world on fire either. They've lost like 4 games this year, so they've been a big disappointment. So I think not that they're selling out,
big time.
But
yeah, no, they're not playing good at all. I think they're 5-4 right now, right? That like they're not playing good at all. But the reason why I say that they probably could still win this game is because they actually, recruit better than them. But for the most part, I'm not on this game. But I would look into more. Before I bet it. Oregon State for sure.
I remember my question, Dom. I had a surprise question for this group today on this game right here. So LSU, Alabama, since we're talking college football, LSU, Alabama game right here. Now, if LSU beats Alabama, does that mean that Alabama is taking a step back as a powerhouse school in NCAA football, being that they got beat in the national championship last year? Now they'll be losing to a close foe right here. What's going to be the outcome if Alabama loses right here in the SEC? Anybody takers on that?
What's going to be the outcome if Bama loses the game? They're going to take an L to start out with, number one. But
how is that going to impact? How is that going to impact them? Them as a team or as a legacy.
Nothing. Nick Saban's a beast.
Yeah, I mean, they're still They still got the recruits. They still got the players. Maybe just a little misstep here, if you call it that. The better team that day is going to win this game without question. Whether one team is going to execute their game plan versus the other, being in the trenches, on the sidelines, however that game's going to develop. Same time, come the following week, one of those teams is going to be disappointed. Are they going to be knocked out of the national picture? Probably not, because both of these teams are being put on a pedestal right now, number 1 versus number 2. So we've been down this road before with Alabama, LSU, and a couple years back they met in the national championship game. So don't be surprised if they meet up again. That's my look on that.
I don't like Ed Orgeron as a coach personally. I didn't like him since USC or whatnot. I mean, not a big fan of his.
You don't like Orgeron? You don't like the guy?
Yeah, he the coach from Waterboy.
I was talking all that shit about Bogdanovich, bro. He just got 10 points in the first fucking quarter, man. Got to be more motherfucking careful, man. God damn.
They're good at home, Utah,
bro.
But yeah, so what y'all saying is that this SEC legacy top conference in college football is just going to stay around until Saban is gone?
Yeah. It's just the way they built. It's just the way that it's not because Saban's a big part of it, but it's just the way it's designed with this BCS bullshit. It's set up this way for the SEC to premium their teams, and every year you got Ohio State looking on the outside, looking in. And trust me, this team wants to get involved, and they want to show people in the SEC that they can play, if not better, or they can dominate. Because year after year, they have the athletes in Ohio too that can play football also. So there's some good athletes in the Big Ten that can play up with these SEC guys. All I hear is SEC speed this, speed that, power. There's a lot of talent other places in the country. No doubt that they have the tougher schedules, but I think right now I was a firm believer that LSU was probably the best team for a long, long time. But after seeing what Ohio State's done this past month, it's been pretty impressive.
It really is. It really is. As far as like what Ohio State been doing, I really didn't think they were going to be able to put the Big 12. I'm sorry. As far as like putting them in the position that they are in, you know what I mean? Because you look at their conference at a different light because of what they've been doing. But as far as like LSU, I feel you right there with Big Ragoo. You kind of struck a nerve right there. I actually originally thinking like they're going to come out and dominate this game, to be honest with you, like just because like you said, boss, this is one of the spots that you look at Alabama, they're not in a good spot. You know what I mean? I actually feel like they could be on some really transition thing, and we might see a little bit more star value in LSU coming on further in the year.
Now, we did have another question in the chat, and this one had to do with FSU and the situation over there with the coach. Here we go. This is from our guy, Josh Point Oh. He says, what's your guys' thought on primetime possibly coaching FSU? I'd like to know that from you as well, Big Ragoo, being an FSU fan. What do you feel about it? Because I if you really break it down, some of the best players are not some of the best coaches by far, and I would be opposed to it myself. But what do you think?
Well, I think Deion's a hell of a guy. He's got a great heart. He's well loved on campus. He's legacy. He's a legacy NFL player. He's a legacy college player. But I don't know if this is the perfect role for him to kind of step in to kind of try to get that locker room back in order and put his wares on the field, so to speak. Now there's a guy that retired from Oklahoma that used to coach defense up at that school, and he's now retired, and he's going to probably coach XFL. But he's got about a $500,000 buyout from XFL. So whether he's going to be coaching on the sidelines one day, Bob Stoops is the guy for the job. If not Bob Stoops, I would say his brother Mark. That's at Kentucky. He was a former defensive coordinator up there also. So basically, that's probably going to be their number one choice is Bob Stoops. And I would have to put either Mark Stoops second, or maybe I don't know about Lane Kiffin. I mean, his name's come up in the mix again, but I don't think they're willing to take it. Matt Campbell's name came up from Iowa State. I don't think they want to take an experiment type. The alumni are going to go out and spend money, whatever it is, and I think they're going to go out. They're going to go reach out to a guy that's had the experience. I don't think the Deion Sanders experiment is going to work. Nothing like that. They have to go after a proven coach that has the ties to the school and somebody that could bring stability back to the program.
I think Deion knows that too. That's why they're coming out, and I think Deion knows that, and that's why they're coming out and saying that he's not interested in the job. I think he really wants that job.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Deion. I don't know how he would transition on the field. I'm sure the thing about it is what has he coached in order to throw him on the sidelines? You just I can see if he was maybe coaching at a Division II school somewhere and had some started out as a special teams coach or defensive coach or a receivers coach, and then worked his way up the ranks a little bit. But to throw him on the sidelines of a premier Division I school, prime time. His name is prime time, so throw him in a prime time situation. Who knows? But I doubt it. I don't think it's the right fit for him right now.
I like what you're saying there, Big Ragoo. But before we get into any more discussions, where we probably can go on and on and on and on. the chats want to get a few picks out there. If y'all got a good picks for the weekend, tomorrow, whatever, let's go around in a circle. Starting with our guy Noli Knows with a couple picks for the people that's involved with us tonight. We appreciate them. We got 16,000 in the chat right now.
Beautiful.
It just went to 18,000. And if y'all could like us, that'd be great. We are live right now on Twitter. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're also live on 11 Sports on Twitch and quite a few other platforms right now. So say hi to the people out there. You know what I'm saying? It's going down. It's live. Noli, hit them with some good old picks you got over there, Mr. Unders.
All right. Are we looking at football or basketball? Does it matter?
Whatever you want to put out there.
Tell us, Noli.
All right. I jumped on some early looks right away in basketball. Probably one of the main looks that I'm looking to ride is a Fairfield team. This is a Fairfield team that had a change of coach, and I talked about it with Dom, and his main emphasis is defense. And the three-point line isn't affecting everybody. It's overemphasized in college basketball, but in colleges like this, it's definitely affecting these guys. They don't have anybody that shoots over 35%, and that's the guys that it's affecting. High percentage guys aren't affected by it. The shot clock reset is affecting the game a little bit, but not too much. More of the blowouts. But I'm liking UMass at Fairfield under 138. That's probably like my main pick for tomorrow. Other than that, there's a couple other looks that I'm looking at. Probably Boise State at Oregon. Under 136.5. Oregon has been an under team for the last few seasons, and you've seen it in their first game. It's been a dead under, and that's what they pride themselves on defense. They're really long. They transition the ball, but they also run like a really slow offense, and that's what gets these unders. I probably have like 4 or 5 more probably by the end of the night, but those are the main 2 that I'm looking at right now.
Well, make sure y'all go follow our guy Noli Knows 562 on Twitter. Wham OG. Hit him with some of that basketball funk you got over there for this weekend. What you got for the people?
I'm going to just keep it real brief and Jeef with you. You feel me? You see, I got my man, LeBron right here. I'm over here pointing and shit. We drinking. We off that yak. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it 100 with you. We off that yak right now. I'm going against my man LeBron James in the first half. I like the Heat. Let's just be honest. We don't have Justin Winslow playing tonight. We do not have other players playing tonight. But at the end of the day, we still have Kendrick Nunn. We still have a gruesomely heating up Jimmy Butler. Happy to be a part of the Heat. He's starting to heat up. Let's go in with the Heat first half. I like them 4.5 plus 4.5. That's the biggest play I made today. I took the Bucks first half. It ain't looking too good, you know what I'm saying? But it's all right. We gonna hit. Last plays I hit out. I was 3-0. We about to come through, you know what I'm saying? I like the Heat first half. Y'all see it right there. 4.5. You feel me? We gonna come out. We gonna try to swing out and knock out my Lakers. This is my Lakers. I think the Lakers is going to win the game. I just think 4.5 is a lot of points for a team that's going for their 5-0 ATS cover in the first half. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. That's a good look right there. Now, Greg, we know the conditions of your picks, but if you can give us any kind of insight on this weekend or just a favorite pick that you like, can you do something for our people?
Yes, NFL. Love the Rams this weekend, -4. Really love them. My guys really love them. It's a really good spot for the Rams this weekend, particularly because they're coming off of the bye. That's number 1, and number 2, they plain and simple. They got to keep winning in order to the NFC. The wild cards. If you look at the teams, Seattle's at 7-2, and I think the Minnesota Vikings are sitting at I believe 6-3. I have it on my phone. It's 6-3. So the Rams got to keep winning, and in particularly this spot, you look at Pittsburgh. The last 2 weeks, last week versus the Colts, they got lucky, plain and simple. Brissett out. They played against the backup quarterback with Brian Hoyer in the second half, and they barely won the game because Adam Vinatieri, one of the most clutchest kickers in NFL history, missed a chip shot field goal.
Don't remind me.
Unbelievable.
Killed us.
Unbelievable.
Killed
And
us.
in the
Killed
week,
the whole sports book at the Orleans.
yeah, unbelievable, man. And in the week before that, played against the Dolphins, struggled in the first half. The Dolphins had to
Jesus.
lead in that game, almost beat them there. So I think Pittsburgh to be even at 500 at this point. I had them under 9.5 season total wins, under the 9.5. I just think they're just really lucky to be at 4-4 right now after last week's Indianapolis game. Rams coming off of the bye. They're gonna have an extra week of preparation. Rams minus the 4, I think, is a very, very solid play this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
like
on it already.
I like it,
I
man.
took it this afternoon. Only bet I took so far for Sunday was that game. It just jumped out at me. Love it.
Yep.
Oh no, Don Reacher, you can't use that as your pick. I know you got another pick. I see you trying to do that when I see that.
It's not my pick. It's not. I wasn't going to give any picks. I really didn't do pick anything. But I bet that.
Oh,
I told
man.
Greg that before. Matter of fact.
Yeah,
Hey, you know I'm joking with you, big dog.
Nope.
But
I'm
get
waiting
him.
for you
I know you got some insight on something out there for the weekend. Go and give him a little insight, Don.
I'm looking at. I'm waiting to see what this Fresno State game is going to end up at. And a little birdie told me that Miami is going to be is going to win tomorrow.
Oh yeah. You've been watching the Boss and the Sauce that comes on Thursdays on the Who-Bangin Sports Talk.
Yeah, I hear
6
things.
p.m. on the West, and I know what you've been doing, Don.
Yeah,
I know what you've been doing.
Hey,
Who's Miami playing tomorrow?
They're playing Louisville.
Aha.
Aha.
Yeah, we talked about that
7.
one yesterday, Louisville.
Yes, sir.
On the Boss and the Sauce show.
Yeah, but I'm on the other side there.
But I'll tell you. Oh, yeah, is that what you were saying, Doc? Tell me about that game, Doc. I know you were talking about
it. The thing is, in that game, Louisville, and Boss and I talked about this the other day, Satterfield, the coach, first-year coach, Louisville's, at times they've overachieved just a little bit. Miami's underachieved a whole lot this year. That offensive line, at home it's a little different for them. They play up a little bit on defense, but they did take a bad L to. Don't forget, early in the season, Virginia Tech took them to the woodshed earlier. And in my book, Louisville, they got a lot of playmakers on that team. They got 2 wide receivers that could be Division I top tier players in any other program. And don't be surprised. And I said this when we did our reviews early in the season, that when Louisville plays a team from Florida, a lot of these recruits, they're 3-star recruits that don't play 4 stars and 5 stars like the bigger schools get in Florida. They go up to Louisville and they go play up in Kentucky at the other university up there too. A lot of quality players on that team. They got a little chip on their shoulder when they play these Florida teams. So I'd put Miami on upset alert in this game. Not to say they're going to lose the game outright, and I know the line is moving up on Miami's side. I think they're up to a touchdown now, but I think that's one of those games where I think it opened like 5.5, 5, somewhere, and that's kind of bet up to 7. That could be a tricky spot there because Louisville can sneak under that number. Not to maybe win the game outright, but definitely to cover the number. So that's when I was leaning that way, just because you might get caught. You might get caught at the short end of the stick because of the number move there if you wait too late, and that might even go to 7.5 by the time the game kicks off.
They 5-3 straight up, and a 5-3 ATS. So I fuck with that one, Big Ragoo.
Who's that? Louisville?
Exactly.
Louisville.
I like everything you be saying every time, man. Big Ragoo, y'all better pay attention. Big Ragoo on this shit. Y'all better stop playing.
And DJ, what were you talking about? Fresno State?
Oh yeah, Fresno State. Fresno State, one of my best picks, the over in the Fresno State game for the week. Y'all heard me say it on the Boss and the Sauce yesterday, and it's going to remain there. Fresno State in this one right here, they playing at home. They do well at home. They're actually doing a little worse on defense. They were doing good on defense at the beginning of the season, but for some odd reason, they're doing a little worse on defense, and the offense is doing a little better. So I expect them to score. Utah State, they couldn't stop us 6 in here if we were on offense and they were on defense. So they're going to definitely have to try to leverage the game by scoring points because they're missing a defensive player from Utah State. One of their best tacklers on defense, the linebacker. He's a stud. He's injured, Woodward. But also on Fresno State, just to show how they're lacking on defense as well. Their best tackler is Jay Rice, aka Jerry Rice. 78 tackles, 2 sacks, two interceptions. This guy's a stud. He's the lone standout on the defensive side for Fresno State. So him doing all the work over there by himself, he got to let up a point. I see Fresno State putting up at least 21 to 25 points. And I see Utah State putting up 21 to 25 points, and I also see Fresno State putting over 30 points. So I'm leaning hard on the over. The history in this game goes over as well. But since Don want to throw my Fresno State out there, I'm gonna go ahead and drop another pick for my people out here, and I'm gonna jump into this Wyoming Boise State game. We all know quarterback Sean Chambers is out for Wyoming. He's out for the season. Ain't no coming back. He was a freshman anyhow. He struggled scoring points for that team. This team is built behind their defense. This is going to be the best, as an offensive line, is going to be a best offensive line showdown with Boise State's offensive line and Wyoming's offensive line. Going to be a real control game in this one. Wyoming is going to be hurt on offense. Sean Chambers, he was a running quarterback. He put up a lot of their yards. He had 567 yards and 10 touchdowns rushing this year. So with him out of the lineup, that puts a lot of points on the board out, and they only average about 28 points anyhow. So I'm leaning hard on the under 48.5 on this game. I hope the public takes it up a little bit, knowing that Boise State was coming off a bye. You know, they can't throw the ball. Brackmeyer should be back, but we got to remember Brackmeyer's a freshman. So, this is late in the season for a freshman. He got homework. He got a couple girlfriends he trying to date on the side. He been injured, one time. He been spoiled a little bit. So I don't expect him to come out firing at all cylinders. So I like the under big time in this game. Going to be a nice physical game late right here in Boise State.
Okay, so he's trying to get his little thing wet. You feel me? He's trying to get his thing wet.
Oh yeah. They do it all the time, man. That's the worst thing. Being a parent, right? Being a parent, sending our kids to college. We know once it gets a little wet around there, man. These kids, they can change overnight on you, man.
Expect grandkids, huh? Grandkids.
There's one more NFL game that I like. I want to see what you guys thought about this game. It's the first time I'm betting this team all year. But which I'm pretty down on them, but I think they're in a good spot this year. The Browns.
Browns, who they playing?
The Browns are at home against the Bills.
I'm expecting their defense to show up.
The Browns are home against the Bills. Kareem Hunt is coming back. The Bills really don't stop the run, and I think Chubb can really get going tomorrow. And I like them, man. There's 2.5 points, 2 points.
As long as your boy doesn't throw a couple picks.
I'm gonna tell you this though. I'm gonna tell you this though.
I'm a Baker Mayfield hater all year, but I just like the spot, and I think the Bills I think they're frauds. I went heavy against them with the Eagles, and I just think I think the Browns are in a good spot. They're home. They've been on the road a lot. Anyhow, what is your thoughts, Trot?
Go ahead, boss.
I'll go next. Go ahead.
I was gonna say this. Once they beat Indiana the first game, like in preseason, I started thinking like, you know what? Maybe this team has some sort of like reality going on in a positive way. Yeah, now they have pretty good production out of their quarterback. Let's just go off there, right? They haven't had this consistent production out of a quarterback in years. Now we going
the last 2 games too.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we go into the defense, right? They're arguably top 5 defense. Mm-hmm. They're arguably top 5 defense in the league. So if you go in that direction, I lean Bills full game, but at the same time, I don't argue you off that pick, because if you be honest, this is the Bills, bro. We're really talking about the Bills, and they're on the road, I believe, right?
Yeah, they're in Cleveland. They're in Cleveland. I didn't bet it.
Easily.
The only game I bet was with the Rams. But
what's the line on the game?
Greg, you have a look on this game?
I'll just give you my opinion. Before the season started, as a matter of fact, I don't know if I spoke to you about this, Big Ragoo. I knew right off the bat that Cleveland was going to struggle to start the season because of Freddie Kitchens, because of you have a brand new head coach. You have a second-year quarterback, a new system. So, I knew right off the bat Cleveland going into the season was going to struggle. I thought they would be a 4-4 football team going into the first 8 weeks. But then I thought they'd turn it. I thought they'd turn it up a notch in the second half. Like last year to end the season, Cleveland was one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They closed out the season really strong. That's why they had so much hyper on them going into this season.
Sure.
But if you look at the division, I still think they got a shot because they did beat Baltimore already once. So if they the second to last game of the season, they're going to play Baltimore again. So if they end up winning that game, they're going to own it and they're going to hold the tiebreaker. But Baltimore has got a really tough stretch coming up after the Cincinnati games. The next 4 games after that, they're going to be playing against the Houston Texans, LA Rams, San Francisco 49ers, and the Buffalo Bills. Those are easily 4 games they can easily split and go 2-2. Now, if Cleveland can turn it around, which if this is not a must-win game at this point of the season, then I don't know
100%.
what. They got to win this game to have a chance to win the division.
That's right.
I like your play in terms because this is literally a must-win game for Cleveland.
And I feel like it's a must-win game for the Bills as well because you look at the next games for the Bills. They play Miami. They have to win that game as well, right? After that, they play Dallas. Then they play Baltimore. Then they play Pittsburgh on the road. Then they play New England on the road. Then they play the Jets. They could win the game with the Jets, but at the same time, that's a tough stretch. I feel like this is one of those tough-ass games that you want to cap. You know what I mean? I didn't make a play on this game, but if I was to go in this, I might be leaning the Bills just because I know they actually play better teams so far.
Not really. Not really.
I mean, they both play.
I'll tell you something. The 6 teams they beat, those teams have gone 9-42.
Wow. I feel like they play Carolina. They play Carolina when as far as McCaffrey been busting on everybody's ass in the beginning of the season. They played McCaffrey when he was busting everybody's ass. You know what I'm saying? I go that far, right?
I tell you, the Bills
then they played
off lucky, man. They had the Giants and the Jets, 2 away games that really weren't away. They were here. They stayed in the same stadium for both games. A 45-minute flight from their house. Anyhow. But you're right what you're saying, Trot. I mean, it's probably a must game for both teams. 100%.
It really is. It really is. This is a tough ass game. I feel like Indiana's defense has been like one of the best in the league, and they played them week. You know what I mean? They played them as well. So I really like all of it. I really like both sides. I don't have no play on this game. But at the end of the day, I lean.
I'm Preskin. Noli in the game. Yes.
I lean Bills though. I lean Bills.
Noli, you over there watching that virtual porn again? You was trying to whip her?
Nah, cut it out, man. Cut it
What'd
out.
You hit,
No,
Noli?
man. I thought I was cooked on this Northwestern under, and came through for me by 4 points.
Ooh. Oh, that was a victory. That was a victory high five there.
That was a victory.
Yeah,
I
man,
knew what that was.
I thought he was trying to break the camera.
Yeah, I know.
I thought he was a horse
crazy.
jockey coming around the stretch. I seen him whip him real good.
And so, any other games you guys are looking at? Another game or two? Or?
Yeah, DJ, what are you looking at in the pros?
In the pros, I'm off so far, man. I had a look yesterday on that under. That under was my best look in the pros, and I got crushed right there. So I got a rebuttal on that one and go back to the bricks on that one. But I also like the I like the under in the 49ers game too.
Yeah,
though.
Me too.
What about Noli? Noli, what do you like Sunday?
NFL wise,
yeah.
I was thinking about the under in the Buffalo game.
Okay.
I thought about that one.
Same game.
The other one I was thinking about is the Chicago under. Chicago.
What number is that?
Their offense can't. I saw 40.5, but I didn't take anything on that. Yeah, I didn't take anything on that. I've been really focused on college basketball.
Yeah, I gotcha.
How about Let me ask you a question.
How about me?
Yeah.
You're gonna laugh at this pick.
Go ahead.
Who had a big game last week? Like the biggest game of the season?
The Dolphins.
No. Well, you can say that. Yeah, the Dolphins. That was a big win.
Baltimore Ravens.
There you go. The Baltimore Ravens, right? They beat the New England Pats. We lost that game too. We had New England and under, and it went friggin' Baltimore and over. I was in I was eating in a steakhouse. I about choked on my steak while I was watching the game, but I couldn't believe how that game was going. It was unreal.
Right.
I mean, they got outcoached, outplayed. They figured it. You know, what does Belichick usually do? He takes away the best weapon, right? Figured he's going to shut down Jackson. They had no answer for Baltimore. So now here's the thing about Baltimore. Baltimore is a very tricky team to figure out in a lot of different ways. When they play teams that they want to, when they step up in caliber, they really step up and they play hard.
Right.
But when they play these little sleepy teams, they go to sleep. So I'm not going to say Cincinnati's going to beat this team. I'm going to kind of use my Miami analogy here with Louisville, but Louisville, you know, it's a different game. Now, you never thought that a team would want Marvin Lewis come back and coach the team after 17 years of losing, right? But the coach they got right now up there in Cincinnati is not that good of a coach. But I think just because of the way that they're going to come into this game as a team, as a whole, you know, they're probably going to look ahead a little bit here. And I know they're laying a big number. So as much as I hate to do this, I would say hold your nose and play Cincinnati plus the points in this game.
That's
and you might walk out with a victory.
I like that play.
I love that play. I love that play, Ragoo. You see, this is what we're really trying to do. This is why we have the channel. This is exactly why we have the channel, because plays like that, taking Cincinnati plus the 12, it makes the most sense because you're like what Greg says, positive EV. That's a positive EV play right there.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you this about Baltimore. Whenever they play a team that's seen them twice, the team that plays them the second time around usually does well against them. When they got film on Lamar Jackson. If you look at this year, they played against Kansas City. They had played them last year. Kansas City beat them. I remember them when they played against the LA Chargers in the playoffs last year. Baltimore had gone to LA and they really like dismantled them. And then come playoff time, Chargers had the second chance and they got they won the second time around. So one thing about Baltimore that I've noticed is whenever the teams play them the second time around and they have film on Lamar Jackson, they fairly do well the second time around. Keep an eye on that one.
I don't feel no fantasy players for Baltimore this week as well. So that's why I really fuck with that play right there.
Well, we multi-streamed in a lot of places. we gotta stay solid to that hour. We're a little bit over right now. We are still up on Twitch though, so we haven't been cut all the way off. But before they cut us all the way off in the middle of saying,
let them cut us off. We'll go down swinging. Listen, I'll tell you the truth. I gotta make a comment about my guy Ant in the chat. He says I'm the only guy that's gonna be betting a Canadian team in the NFL this week. Ant. What am I gonna do with him, man? Anyways, he's Ant's a good guy, Prince of the City. He's in the chat tonight. You know, doing he's got his comedy routine going as usual. He's never lost words. Now I tell you one thing I did see Ant did. I can't say it on camera, but we made a certain stop at a certain spot, and Ant says this thing ain't doing nothing for me. And we're in the casino and we're playing craps, right? We're sitting there, and it's the quietest I ever seen him be. He said, I don't feel nothing. And meanwhile, he was paralyzed. He didn't realize it. Figure it out.
Hey, shout out to
this is my boy Ant.
Number 9.
Also, shout out to Josh Point O.
Number 9.
Shout out to Virgo in the house. Shout out to EJB. Shout out to
Josh
Mr. Fatfish. Shout out to Vegas Gun came and hanged out with us today. Shout out for Ozonker Sanchez in the house tonight. Shout out for Agent Pewds. Not sure who that is, but he showed up and showed out today all over the chat involved. And shout out to our guy Twatty Lottie, stopped by from Cappers Invested. Also Gerald Martinez, Al Hard. This was, we had a lot of people come hang out with us this Friday. Joe Anisi. If I missed you, man, come back next week. And
all quality guys too. Quality cappers.
I see you with there, Josh. I see you, baby.
I'm starting to feel it. This is the Capper's favorite show right here.
It gotta be.
That's what's going on right here. Just nothing but a lot of good Cappers in the chat, on the show, all that good stuff, man. But we got a few things going down, little house business right here, Who-Bangin Sports. Look out for us on Monday. We're going to have a little pop-up show, a little soft opening of the Lighted Up show with our guy, Dom Ricci. And like I said, our NBA show is under construction, but it will be showing up soon. So stay tuned for that. And we're working on a Tuesday show. I'm not going to give all the details yet, but we're working on a Tuesday show with one of our special guys in this chat right here.
Hey, Wham Talk on Wednesdays. Wham Talk is on Wednesdays. Wham Talk on Wednesdays. We're going to make this shit happen. We're going to make this shit happen. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm going through some crazy shit. My wife, my kids and shit, they stopping your boy, but but they can't stop you, boy. You feel me? We're gonna get this stop. We're gonna get this rocking. We're gonna get this rocking. You know how it is. When you the man of the house, you gotta take care of the house. You feel me? But at the end of the day, let's get to this money. We're gonna get to this money. We got the Heat first half tonight against my Lakers. We got the Heat first half, 4.5 against my Lakers. Let's go. DJ BigBoss, close us out, bro.
Well, let's go. I'm going to send y'all out of here with a little snippet of the intro we've been working on for the Lighted Up show, which is going to come on Monday. And also, I'm going to close y'all out with the intro we had at the beginning of this show. So thanks, everybody in there for joining. Thanks for all our people.
Thank you, guys.
Chat. Thank you, Greg,
Thank
Wham, Noli Knows, Dom Ricci, Big Ragoo. You know, it's all love. But we're gonna send you out with a little treat.
Good morning, bookie bashes, run line smashes, total hustlers, dog line crushes, and this is Light It Up with your boy Dom Ricci here.